next section that we're going to be looking at is correcting body type colours when we have aberrations, or what we call hybrids or colour aberrations. And by this I mean people who show two colours, one different colour in each eye, or possibly even that they're weakening to colour or colours which are not their body type at all. Okay, so this is what we have. So when either eye expresses different colours, so it could be red, green, or red, blue, or green, red, green, blue, or blue, red, blue, green. All right, any of those possible combinations is not ideal, okay, because what we want to be is one biological type. What we found is you will actually physiologically change, and the reason you're changing from one colour to another is due to emotion. It's due to emotional components and principally your relationship to the expression of love. So love is the cure for all negative emotions. All negative emotions are the opposite of it is love. So it's how you express that love or see that love. Do you feel lovable? In other words, do you feel worthy of being loved? Do you give out? Are you loving, giving out? Or are you lovable? Are you loved? Do you feel loved in yourself from other people? Those are the three defects that most of us have. And this correlates a lot with the colours and the constitution of a person. So just bear that in mind, that the real cause of why a person changes is usually in the emotional front. And this is why when you have periods of stress in your life, unconsciously you don't feel loved or you don't feel lovable, and so you think worthy of it, and you actually change your body constitution. And this is why people can change. Now, when I first started doing this 20 years ago, I was a red. Then I discovered I was a red predominantly with a green in one eye and a red on the other, but I still, dominant one was red with a touch of green. When we made the correction that I'm going to show you, I went green, green. And I knew when I went green, green, I'd come home. You know, I was a green. I was a green in the tall, I was a green in the body build, the adrenal function, and the nickel sensitivity. So I knew as after I made the correction, about 3 months after that, I went through some period of stress again, short period of stress, and I reverted back to being a red. And one correction again, and for 2.5 years, I've remained green, green. So once you make the correction, it should hold unless the causes of why you changed in the first place come back again. Okay? So if you've had a long period of stress, there may be a reason why you've changed your body type. Okay? So you don't need to actually go in there and do psychoanalysis to try and find out what it is. But in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to challenge Anna with the different colours. So I think, what colour are you normally? I think you told me you were green, okay? So test the strung muscle first. Okay, so if you choose the green acetate, let's see if Anna's correct. So she's weakening to green. Now test each eye. Okay, so she's not green on the left, but she's green on the right. So now test the left eye with one of the other acetates. So she weakens to red on that left eye. Let's try the blue. Good. So we would call her a green with a less dominant, rather, we don't use the word recessive here, but a less dominant red on the left. Do you understand that? So she weakened to green being the primary one that she weakens to, but the left eye was not green. Okay. So how tall are you in imperial units?
5'7", nearly 5'8".
So 5'7" and a bit. Okay. So she's just on that, could be green. 5'7" would be the average, but could be a red. Let's stick your hands up. Okay, so the reason for that is, let's have a look there. I love that little finger. Let's have a look at that little finger. Ooh, it doesn't go that way, does it? Okay. Can you pick that up on the camera, that little finger? Okay. Remember what colour get the knuckles. Okay. And I would say these are long, thin fingers, I would say, aren't they? And judging from Anna's build, I would have put her down more of a red than a green. Although her height-wise would reflect, you know, that she might be in the greens. So we've got a cusp here, and we definitely got a hybrid on our hands. Okay? So I'm not going to put my money on which one she actually is. We're going to see which one she materializes out at. Now, Clive talked very briefly earlier on about the fact that we've used Meron Glass for all our products. When we restarted a nutrition company 3 or so years ago, a good close friend of mine in Los Angeles said, if you start a new company, Chris, what you must do is put all your products into Meron Glass. And I said, what is Meron Glass? And she said, well, you never heard of Meron Glass? She said, it's from Europe, it's from Switzerland. Don't you use it? And I said, no, I haven't really heard about it. She said, oh, it's wonderful. I'll bring you a few pots in. And what it is a very dark glass which looks black, and it absorbs all the visible light spectrum, okay, which is what black is. So when you look at something's black, it's because it reflects nothing, okay? Whereas something which is white reflects. Something which is red absorbs everything but reflects red into our eyes. So black is absorbed through there. So it takes the energy of the visible spectrum into the black, but it filters it out and only allows into the contents the first part of the ultraviolet and the first part of the infrared. So there's no visible light goes into the content, it's all absorbed in the glass. So I said, well, what's the advantage of that? She said, well, two things. One is it preserves the contents. So aging of contents depends upon light, so more something is exposed to light, the quicker it ages, heat, and air, or oxygen. So if you open something up, more you open it up, more oxygen you get, the quicker you decay or oxidize, and the hotter it is. So the Meron, storing things in Meron bottles, at least will protect it from the light. And if you store these things in good containers in cool atmosphere, they will last much longer, and you don't keep opening the top. So something like a dropper bottle is ideal for minerals and compounds which you want to dispense. The second thing she said is it allows the violet flame waveband to go into the contents. And I said, what's the violet flame? And she said, well, it's a particular wavelength which healers emit from their hands during healing sessions, and which people obtain when they meditate. And all spiritual regimes and religious groups try and attain this for healing purposes. And I started listening to some works on meditation and talking to patients who meditate, and they said when they get to that tranquil phase, which is when the left and the right brain are in harmony. So in meditation you try and calm both brains down, but the most important thing is harmony between the two brains. So they're not fighting anymore. Okay? So when the left brain sees anything, or the right brain, they have a conflict. And so you work more on one brain than the other. But when you're in harmony, perfect harmony, people see this light, this purple light or violet flame. But if you're out of harmony, you don't see it. Okay? But you don't see it with your eyes. You see it inside somewhere. Okay? It's not an experience of a vision with your eyes because you've got your eyes closed and your hand over there, but you still see this violet flame. And I thought, well, if this occurs when the left and the right brain are in harmony, let's see if we can harmonize the person by giving them the Meron light. So I'm going to show you very simple how we got Meron light. So this is the bottom of a 30 ml bottle, aren't they, I think? Okay, see that? Bottom there. You don't see anything, do you? You see the bottom of a bottle, it looks black. Now I'm going to turn it on. Can you see anything now? Do you want to hand it round or fire it up? What you see is a violet colour. Okay? Now that colour you do not see in nature because it's beyond the human spectrum. And that's the beauty of the Meron. And what we found when we first started doing some compounds in pots of different arrangements, and I think we probably import more Meron Glass through our company than anybody else in the UK, because we put all our products, apart from the capsules in the flat packs, because the bottles don't go through letterboxes because they're a bit big, but the flat packs do. So what we see is that everything is in Meron. And when people hold a Meron bottle, they don't want to let it go. It has a particular feel to it. You get hold of it and you hold it. Just, you see on your left there, you've got some pots there. Just grab hold of one. Just get hold of a pot and put it in your hands and hold it. You don't have to use the pot, or you don't have to open anything else. Just have a feel of it. Just put it in your hands. There's a particular feel to Meron that people don't want to let go. It has a healing force in it, a healing energy. And we notice that a lot of companies now who do flower remedies and homeopathic remedies are all using Meron. Okay? We observed in Harrods last year, they're putting honey in. So you can buy honey in Meron pots. We do apothecary pots where you can put flour, pasta. We do smaller ones for salt and sugar. So what you do is you take, when you put the contents in there, you pop the product out for 20 minutes to half an hour in the daylight, ideally the sunlight, and it puts that energy in it. It irradiates it and energizes it. And what we found in the times when we were using the liquid minerals in there in the early days, people only needed a smaller dose because it was potentized. It's much more energetic. If they'd had half an hour of sunshine in the Meron Glass, they still needed the zinc solution, but they didn't need so much, okay, because it has an energy to it, like a homeopathic. So my theory, therefore, was if the problem of mixed dominancy is due to an emotional problem, which department of emotion is it in? And the answer to that, is it in the conscious? Do I consciously want to change my body type? No. Okay. So is it unconscious, where you're not aware of this happening? Could be. Or could it be in the subconscious? Now the subconscious is everything that you've ever experienced and inherited in your life. Everything you've smelt, everything you've tasted, everything you've touched, everything you've seen and everything you've heard is recorded. Okay? Frightening, isn't it? Big brother. Okay? So your recording is all in the subconscious part of the brain. 95% of our brain is subconscious. It records everything, but it filters it out because we don't want to know what happened over in the corner there. You don't want to be seeing what happened over there. You want to be seeing and consciously aware of what I'm doing here. But everything in the corner of your eye is picking up information or bytes of information, and we're putting millions of those into our brain every moment. So they're all being recorded in there. And this is called the subconscious. So we inherit a lot of data from mum and dad through the genetics, and we acquire it through our lifetime of the years of however old we are, is that we're a database. So most of our brain is a database, the subconscious. But you have to remember there's nobody in there. It's just a database, okay? It's not somebody you can talk to. You can ask information from it, but you can't get an answer verbally, right? Because it doesn't talk. It's non-verbal. But it works beautifully through the muscle test or hypnosis. So hypnosis can access it. So under hypnosis, Anna will be able to tell us exactly what colour tie Brian is wearing. Aha, she's smart. Brian's not wearing one. She's always there. Does Brian never wear a tie?
No.
Rarely, okay. I can't find anybody with a tie. It's no good asking me. Okay. So, you know Jill. Okay, what colour top she got? Purple top, yeah? She's quite observant, isn't she? Unless you can see her at the corner of your eye. Okay, she's pretty observant. But there's a good example that everything which is of not any value information is still recorded in there. So under hypnosis, it can be called upon and retrieved. But we can do that non-verbally with the muscle test. So where is the subconscious? Okay, the subconscious is 95%. It's everywhere in the nervous system except the orbital frontal lobes of the frontal or neocortex. And these two areas, about the size of walnuts, sit above the orbit. So these are the conscious emotional points. They sit up there. So that's where we do most of our thinking comes through that. The consciousness or the awareness isn't there, but it works through that as a measuring device. And the subconscious is regulated by the limbic system, which is probably all of the rest of the brain, but mainly through the amygdala, which is like the rheostat, which controls the emotion. So sometimes that emotional or that program can be playing sort of 10 out of 10, and sometimes it fades into the background. But what we're going to do is we're going to compare the amygdala on one side to the other. So the nearest we can get to the amygdala is on the greater wings of the sphenoid, what colloquially is called the temple, not the temporal bones, but here, the greater wings of the sphenoid. So what we did is we put the right-hand one on first. You want to take over? Right-hand one on first, and then the left. So the challenge is a challenge between the right brain and the left brain. Is there a conflict? No. Yes. Okay. Now reverse it. So now take them off and put the left hand on to the right and test that. So in her case, in Anna's case, the right to the left weakened, the left to the right didn't. Okay? So we've got a conflict going on between the left and the right brain. In her case, it's a conflict between the right brain and left brain. Are you left-handed? Ah, that's why she was right to left. Most of the people are left to right, okay? But left-hand people will be more conflict right to left. Okay, so the remedy is you keep her in the position which was the positive challenge, which in her case was the right to the left. Yeah. And what we're going to do is give her 1 minute of light therapy into the umbilicus. Now the umbilicus in Chinese medicine is called the shrine of God. And it's here that life energy or qi goes into the person all their life. So in utero, as during pregnancy, blood will flow in there, oxygen, nutrients from the mother, from the placenta, will feed the baby up to the time of birth. So when the baby is born, and when the heart is ready to take over, the foramen ovale in the heart, the hole in the heart is healed over, what will happen is the baby's umbilical cord is cut, they're on their own. You're on your own, kid, from that moment when your connection to your mummy is made. And so what we're going to do from then on, chi or life energy goes in through the umbilicus. So what we're going to do is put that life energy or that healing force into the umbilicus. Now if people do this, we found about a minute, if they close their eyes during this, sometimes they see the light. Okay, it's amazing. You know, people like to just relax while you're doing it and say, I'm chatting away about, you know, this and that and the shrine of God and things like that, and then the minute is usually up.
It is up.
It is up, okay. So by the time you said shrine of God a few times, the minute's up. Okay, now you muscle test her again. And with a bit of luck, she's strong. Just swap round to make sure she just hasn't got confused around the other way. So this has brought harmony to the left and the right brain. Very clever. So exactly the same as when a person meditates and goes into that meditation part and the activity of the left and the right brain harmonize and gradually dictate. But now the side effect of this is let's go back, because if she's in harmony, let's see if she's a hybrid or hopefully a non-hybrid. Okay, so start with the blue. I don't think she's a blue, so we're doing this as a... Okay, so now the $100 question is she really a red or is she a green? Let's go for green next. Aha, now go for red. Now do each eye individually. Okay. Good. Welcome to the red world. Okay. So she is actually a red. Now, interestingly, the advantage red over green is you may be a bit sensitive to aluminium things, but you can now drink. Okay. You're much more flexible in what you can drink, whereas the greens are all right. Remember, greens are chemically sensitive, so wines with sulfites in, beers with sulfites in, not so good. Cleaner the drink, more organic, biodynamic it is, the better, or spirits are great. But as a red, and you can eat meat, okay, you're real kind of, you'll run much more meat. Okay, thank you. Earlier in last year, when Jill and I were doing this to the group in Los Angeles, there was one girl on there who she said, I'm taller than the blue, but I weakened to being blue. And I said, what do you like with alcohol? And she said, dreadful. She said, I don't even bother. She said, you know, because I feel so bad with it. So we changed her, or didn't change her. We brought her back to what she should be, which was a red. And she said, does that mean I can drink now? So we said yes. So we were really brave and courageous there. And everybody was waiting for the Sunday morning when she came back in. And she said, you wouldn't believe this. I had a skinful, she said, didn't she? And I feel wonderful. And her enzymes, her genetic expression, which is the enzymes are part of the genetic expression, had changed. So what you'll find now is Anna will no longer have tendencies towards the green, like nickel sensitivity, chemical sensitivity, and so on, but she will have more the tendencies towards the red. Okay? So the nutrients that we talked about in the red person, whether those are the multiple ones or individually tailored ones, are the better ones for you. So if you've got a person who is red, you now know all the things that their body constitution requires, and their little foibles as far as the genetic makeup, like ApoE4 and homocysteine and things. Then you begin to look at those and you begin to say, yeah, I can see why they need B6, why they need folic, maybe a bit of all the methylation factors to help homocysteine to be metabolized. Okay, so if you've got nothing else on the first appointment, test the person's colors, change them if they're a bit of a hybrid, and maybe just prescribe them a multiple if you want to go no further with the right red, green or blue multiples and the right types of oil. Maybe send them away with a culinary oil to use in the evening times on their salads and on their food and things. So if you did nothing else, that would be ideal. Personally, what I do will continue, and as we will, and look for big deficiencies or big toxins and deal with those and use the multiple when people's health is up and running as a maintenance. But if you did nothing else, at least the red, green and blue will keep a person on an even track. Now let me just, before we finish on that one particular subject, Jill was a very good example here because, as we said in the previous chapter, when we got together 3 years or so ago, she was mostly green, but occasionally blue would show up. Then we discovered she was green on one eye and blue on the other, but dominant green. But when or if she picked up an infection, she would become dominant on the blue. So she would actually change to the environment, if you like, of fighting an infection. So something was going on with the immune system and the instructions. But I was always concerned about that, and because she's 5'4½", but against that, she likes red meat. Okay, she's a carnivore through and through. She doesn't get on well with wheat. Okay, but she likes wine. Okay, or alcohol. Tolerates alcohol absolutely fine. Okay, so that rules her out from being a blue, doesn't it? Okay. The wheat makes you suspicious she could be a red. The carnivore and the wine makes you think she's a red. So we did exactly that. And the fingers make you think she's red. Okay, stick your fingers up. Can you fire up on the fingers there, Gary, please? Come over here and show everybody your fingers. Okay, but she's half an inch out. So by the time I sat on her thoracic spine and stretched her out there, she still wouldn't get up to 5'5". So we zapped her with the Meron light in the umbilicus. And remember, she was green, blue. Snapped her, and she was red, red. Changed completely, absolutely completely. So no body type, manifesting at all. She was completely gone, had it. Not the person she obviously should be, or when she changed, I have no idea. But that's for that person to really work out in their own mind. But it is always periods of stress. Okay, it's usually they're long periods or severe stress which literally change our body type. The genes change to how we feel. Our perception or misperception with one S is how we express our body, and this is a very good example.